Hi, scientists and investigators. I'm Amy from BCI. Now we're on the hunt to find Bob agriculture as quickly as possible. We'll be using a tool. It's a camera that picks up thermal energy. You might have already learned about thermal energy this year. Today we're going to review that, and we're going to talk about ways it can be transferred. Thermal energy is energy that comes from the temperature of matter. The warmer the substance is, the more its molecules vibrate, and therefore the higher its thermal energy. Thermal energy can be transferred 3 different ways. One way thermal energy is transferred is through conduction. Conduction occurs when heat or electricity moves from one place to another. When you talk about conduction, we're talking about how thermal energy can move from one part of an object to the other end. As the molecules in an object heat up, they vibrate and move faster up and transfer, almost like a chain reaction from one point of the object to the next. Today we're going to show you which material conducts heat better. Which spoon do you think? Let's make a prediction. Will it be the wooden spoon, the plastic spoon, or the metal spoon? We're going to take the same amount of butter and stick it on each spoon to see which type of material conducted thermal energy better. Let's take a look. In your mind, did your prediction come true? By making an observation, it looks like the metal spoon conducted thermal energy better. So we could conclude from this experiment that metal seems to be a better conductor of thermal energy. Another way thermal energy can be transferred is through convection. Convection occurs when heated molecules move from one place to another, taking the heat with them. Today we're going to do a convection demonstration. What we've done is make ice water in this container, and we're going to take blue food coloring to represent our cold water. I'm going to drop it underneath the surface of the water and put about 3 drops in on each side. This will represent the cold water current, similar to what you might see with the air. Then we're going to take red food coloring to represent the warm water currents or the warm heat currents in the air. We're going to place it in the middle. And what you're going to see with this, once we add our heat source, is that the red food coloring should start to rise because it creates a convection current. What we're going to do is take our hot water source. We're going to pour it in here. And we're going to stick it under the red food coloring. What we should see when we place this underneath our cold water, where the red dye is, we should start to see a convection current heading up towards the top of the surface of the water, simulating what would happen in the air. And what you'll start to see is that the blue dye, which is the cold water, is starting to mix with the warm water, and it's creating different convection currents, similar to what you might see with a weather pattern when a cold front and a warm front meet. So that's an example of convection. Radiation is another way that thermal energy can be transferred. Radiation is the transfer of energy like heat. Today we're going to be doing a demonstration on radiation. Radiation is another way thermal energy can be transferred. When the sun gives off heat energy, you're feeling that radiated from the sun onto your skin. If you get too hot, you might want to step in the shade. The tree would be blocking the radiation from the sun from getting to your skin. So today we're going to conduct a radiation experiment where we show a heat source, which would be similar to the sun, giving off radiation, thermal energy, coming down and melting the candle wax. Now when I light this stick, I'm going to make sure that I have the heat source above the wax so that we are definitely seeing radiation heating up the wax and melting it, instead of convection, which would be above it, or conduction, which would be actually touching it. So when we go to light this, I'm going to really be careful to make sure that I have this above the wax source to make sure that you are seeing an example of radiation. and you should start to observe the candle wax moving down the stick. Now let's get back to finding Bob as soon as possible with our thermal energy camera.